Good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness, I usually have to tell people to get a little bit rowdier, but you guys are full of energy and we love that. You must have known CJ is in the room somewhere. He's going to be listening for that. Again, my name is Adai Lamar, 102.3 KJLH, and I am so thrilled to be here to celebrate the life of an incredible human being. If you are here in these seats, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and he has blessed your life as he has blessed so many others. He has written a book, Navigating Through the Valleys of Success. He's using his personal story to touch others. God has blessed him with so many gifts, so many blessings. And for him to take those trials and tribulations and the gifts and the blessings and to put them in a book and hope to enlighten, to empower others is just simply who he is. Is that not true? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take a moment to watch this video.
Are we ready? Well, we're here with CJ. CJ, I understand that you have a program called CJ's Functional Fitness and that you've been giving out to the community. And tell me, where did that stem from?
Well, CJ's Functional Fitness is a business. And when I think of business, I can only think of one thing. This man right here, my father, Milton Joseph. It's a business that I kind of like his story to a degree. I had a job, and I just got tired of working in just a job setting. And I want to make it clear, I'm looking over here, right? And I got tired of working at a job setting. Now, it's not that I've given up that job, because I'm very proud of it, but somewhere in life, the entrepreneurial spirit kicked in. And at one point, when it kicked in, the first person that I thought of is the person that I was running from. And it was my dad, Milton Joseph. So CJ's Functional Fitness is a business, and through that business, of course, the goal is to bring in capital. The goal is to make money, and that's all I wanted to do, really. But like my dad, community kicks in. So is CJ's Functional Fitness $1 million brand? Maybe in the heart, but not so much the pocketbook. My dad here, Milton Joseph, has had businesses all of his life, and he's made millions over his lifetime. He's lost millions over his lifetime, but he had the strength and courage and the faith to step out and win and lose like that, and I got a chance to see that, and it scared me to a degree. But the main thing that was constant was the fact that he was helping people all of his life. And I can't talk about my dad without talking about my mother, Margie Joseph. They've been married 47 years, so first of all, let me get this cracking. My brother, Dion, and I, we have the perfect example of what a marriage should be. My mother and father were married 47 years before she passed almost 10 years ago. And through that 47 years of loving, good loving I guess, must have been, my father and my mother helped raise 41 foster children of all nationalities. My dad probably lost more money helping ex-cons get back to work. My mom would clean them up from drugs, and my dad would take them and give them a job. He was always known for giving people second chances in life, and have sometimes third chances that we watched. Sometimes as I got older, working within the business, against my judgment, Dad, come on, we're losing money here. When I finally saw the books, Dad didn't seem to care. My mother, even at sacrificing a closer relationship with her own sons, fed the homeless regularly, and that's where Dion's inspiration comes from. And through that story, watching them do business and help people at the same time, you may not be where you want financially, but you got to ask yourself, what do you really want to be rich at? Money? Okay, cool. Or the heart. So I began doing my community programs, and it was very difficult at times because, you see Superman, I'm Zod. This is Superman. It's a very proud thing watching my dad, watching my brother receive awards, and being on TV, NBC, you name it. He's the man. He's like the #1 cop in America right now, and he shares that with other #1 cops. And I beam and I get proud, and I sit back and I say, well, man, I've done a lot of things too. This isn't out of jealousy. It's just that the only person I want to say, here, well done from, is this man right here. And it's hard for him to see it because he's been sick in the last few years. In fact, just to be honest, we may be losing him soon, and I've been taking care of him for the last 2 years. Deon took over from 2 years prior, and I'm okay with his thought process. You know, he wants to be home with mom, and we're okay with that. Sometimes that's okay. Unfortunately, I've delayed that because he's living with a trainer now. So, you know, we want him in a place where he's loved. We want him always with relatives where he can make his transition. And I always, I needed a platform to say thank you to this man.
When you're on a journey such as CJ's, God puts all kinds of folks through those paths. So he made sure he thanked everyone he could. Ladies and gentlemen, we know him from CJ's Functional Fitness, running us around the gym, boxing, up and down the highways, running and everything. But now he puts on a different hat. He is now author. Please welcome Cleon Joseph.
Oh, thank you, sis. The first step is done. I got up the stairs without falling, so it's going to be good.
Wait, let's see if you can get in this chair. Let me navigate this chair.
Boom,
Look,
I just navigated that. All right.
There you go. Wait a minute. Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Woo, look.
All right. How you doing, sis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm ready. I am ready now.
You know what? I was chatting with CJ. I said, CJ, it's just us having a conversation. It's just us having a conversation. The many conversations we've had together that many of you probably have had with CJ, if you know him and been in that gym, you know that you're not just getting a workout. You're getting some words of wisdom. You're getting to kind of vent a little bit of your own situation. And you're walking through it. If you get to talking too much, you may be able to get out of some sets, depending on how much you know.
Shame on you.
Navigating through the valleys of success.
Man.
CJ, we're told everyone has at least one book in them.
Wow. I've got plenty, but what was supposed to be a fitness book, sis, turned out to be a book that God literally took over in my fingertips. It took me 2 weeks to write.
Wait a minute, stop right there. That's where I was going with this. Everyone has one book in them. No one said it was just going to take 2 weeks to get it out. 2 weeks, CJ?
2 weeks.
What were you thinking? What was going on?
Well, like I said, everybody's got the latest fitness craze, and I was thinking, well, I'm next. It's my time. You know, get ready, y'all. I'm coming to the world. And I started typing about the business of fitness. And I started thinking as I was hitting the keyboard, I started thinking of my dad. And it was like my dad was calling me to say, son, we need to have a different conversation. You know, you need to tell these people how you got here first before you move to the next level. So I got the type in, and I began to evolve within the writing. You know, things started coming to me, like, you know, the tragedies in life. And I started to figure out how those things got me to the point where I'm at today. The people who have helped me. And it was like, you know, I know, you know, a lot of people may not believe, but I do. And unapologetically, I believe in Christ. He stepped in and said, I'm going to take over this work. I'm going to hook you up next time. And that's what happened. 2 weeks.
Big round of applause for that. They say writing a book is therapy.
Yes.
We've known each other a very long time.
Long time.
We've had a lot of conversations about a lot of the incidents and things in this book. If you haven't got it, get it. I can tell the perspective has changed from when we talked about them years ago, where you were coming from in those moments of trials, tribulations, even the wonderful things that were happening in your life. What changed when you were able to put it in a book?
Well, years ago when I met my sis Adai, almost 10 years now?
Oh my gosh, it's a long time.
There were mental blocks, you know, and those blocks were full of pain and suffering and anger. Some of the stuff that my clients have been parting, you're not alone. Some of you all I was helping, you have no idea, I needed help. I started typing early on with this little project, it was so filled with anger. There was one character, I want to kick his butt. The next character, I'm mad because he had the same shoes I was wearing. I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on in life. I was dealing with a lot of death, a lot of self-discovery. There was even, and it's easier to talk about now that I'm mature, sexual abuse that I didn't even know about. We all go through that. And like I said, God was just talking to me from a place of anger. The book would not have sounded the same to you. You would have got something out of it, but you would have said, man, this is all about CJ. It took me 10 years removed to heal, watch God grow inside of me, watch him show me why this went wrong to get to right, to him to say, you know what, God? I needed the tragedy too. I needed to feel loss. I needed to feel grief. I needed to feel let down. And thank God you've got me where I'm at in my marriage, with my kids, with my family, so I can see the blessings and I can tell somebody else how all those things I went through in the past got me where I'm in today. The CJ that you see right now, I've unleashed Cleon Joseph to you now. I'm a Cleon Joseph for those that you didn't know. Now you know, right? Cleon Joseph is a man that is happy with himself. He's content, and he's an open book, and he's ready to share, and he's ready to help. You've got to evolve. You got to evolve to a place where you got to forgive those that's done wrong to you. You have to forgive. Say forgive. I'm still training, guys. I'm sorry. All right. You have to forgive and then forgive yourself. Let go, look up, and ask God one question. At the bottom of your valley, Lord, what do you want me to do? Once you ask that question, these steps start popping up. And these steps come up in the form of human beings. It's not magic. God, I hope I'm not wrong, Pastor. I see Pastor Cheney back there. God is not magic, okay? God is real. The only way God can work is through people. That's the only way I know how. And you'll know the miracle when someone you barely know can walk up to you and tell you something, not wish a blessing on your life, all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody that God puts in them that knows something about you that they should not have known, and then walks you out of that door. That's when you know it's all right? So I went through it, and I want to share. Now, there are levels. There are levels to pain. Maybe your pain out there is deeper than mine, but guess what? The formula, and I've heard some of your pains, the formula of getting out is the same. I stand here before you, a changed man, a healed man, a grateful man, and I'm ready to impart insight.
Big round of applause. I told you that in the book you're going to see the theme family a lot. And you'll hear a lot about family tonight. Yes. Let's talk about family.
Okay, all right.
I know.
We've had a lot of talks in the gym. Be careful now. Whoa.
Okay, let's talk about family. Let's talk about family.
Right.
I'm going to make it easy on you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it like this. Let's talk about parents. Milton.
Wow. Well, did you guys enjoy the video? Yeah. That there's my dad, all right? Another part of the book was, when I initially had the idea years ago, was I told you, a book of anger. There was a part in my life where I was angry at my father for little things. My brother and I, Dion, I don't know if he's still in the audience. My brother and I, there he is, that big guy right there. We were okay. We were well off. We went from being well off, and I don't want to get all the way into it because you got to read the book. We went from being well off. My brother and I call each other the Prince of Soul Glow. We had it like that. To losing it all, to seeing a strong man. If something's wrong, a weak man cries, that's all right, you give him a hug. But when a strong man breaks down and goes out, I developed a sense of bitterness towards him. It was like you'd hate me 20 years ago the way I was treating my dad. Read the book and you see how I was. There was no empathy. I saw a strong man go weak, and I lost respect for him. So when I started typing, it was a book of venting. Dad, I wanted to say, Dad, I'm sorry, But again, God steps in and says, no, don't you apologize for that, son. I'm going to show you how your dad's instilled into you, and all the stuff you went through made you who you are. Your dad's vision for you is not my vision for you, CJ. Forgive yourself. Let go. You're doing a good job. I know your dad knows that. So once I forgave myself and realized that my vision, my dad had a vision for me. How many of y'all got kids out there? How many of y'all want your kid to do the same thing you did? Oh, so we've all evolved. Beautiful. Well, my dad wanted me to do everything that he did. And I developed a resentment for it. So what happened, I went a whole different way. In fact, I despised him for it and ran when I saw some of his failures. And you'll read some of those in the book. But eventually it kicked in. I have the same spirit. I went a different way, but God had everything to do with that, and even allowed me to take care of that man in his final days. And he imparted so much wisdom that I missed all that time. I thought I needed forgiveness for him. That's how it works family-wise.
And you were able to put that love on him in his last days, the love that you kept for so long.
I put a lot of love.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of tough love. How many of you in the audience are taking care of somebody that's your parents right now? Mm-hmm. Anybody taking care of your parents? Be honest. Is it rough? It's not like the Waltons where, grandmama's sitting in the corner, right? And everything's good and every day's a hug and grandma's clean all the time. I take you through a grody kind of love, and I detail it so you guys can say, I've been there, or I recognize that. I can share that with somebody else. I took him through a kind of love where I became the parent. He was now the bitter 7-year-old, and I became the parent, and it got ugly. There were some stages I will reveal to you that you'll think, man, somebody that ain't been through nothing, that CJ's cruel. No, that's life, son. Sometimes you got to tell that 3-year-old, hey, it's time to get in the room. Or you want to fight today? Okay, I'm going to wrestle you right in the bed. If I got to strap you down, you're going to have days like that, And I see you nodding your head. You understand. You're going to have days like that. There are going to be some days where your family may not understand what's going on. It's so gross, your family has to back out so you can handle when you're taking care of somebody that's invalid. It is deep, and you still you still have to find that love. So read the book. I'll tell you how all the in detail in the book.
Siblings.
Yes, siblings.
Your siblings.
Yes.
I want you to talk about them in general, but then I want you to narrow it in on your twin. Dion.
Okay. Dion, okay. The rock star. Well, I'll start with in order. In the book, I referenced you as the big sis that I never had, right? I have a sister, and the reality of it was that sister was not much of a sister. I love her, but you don't hear about it. You won't hear about her much in the book, I just don't remember, all right? My older brother, Troy, was a generation ahead of me. We had a lot of falling outs and misunderstandings, a lot. There's a lot of deep stuff that went on in our life, but he was always my hero. Some of you know him, some of you have met him, sweet man, but we had issues. Sometimes you got to deal with that, I had to watch him. I had to receive mentorship from him by watching him, because there are a lot of times, if you ever had that older sibling that says, hey, I'm going to take you out every weekend, and then you're sitting there waiting, ain't nobody there. Who do you need more love for than your big brother? That's there. So I had to watch him. You know how I had to learn how to fight? I had to watch him beat people up. That's how I learned how to fight, You know how I had to learn about the ladies, per se? I had to watch him, sometimes the wrong way, with the ladies. It was just everything, but everything he did, right or wrong, what I loved about him the most, he walked the planet like he owned it. And many kids in our community forgot how to walk the planet like we own it. Some do, some don't. And we all need to work on the ones that don't. You need to walk the planet like you own it. And then there's Dion. I can't say enough about when you do it right. God's blessings when you do it right. And then God's blessings when it takes a while to do it right, all right? When I was young, and Dion can attest to it, I would see Dion on his knees praying to God every night. Every night. Well, he got that from my mom and dad and that good pastoring from Joe Chaney, all that, Me, I ran from God. I wanted to see what the world was like. And there was even a space, sis, where I decided to almost not believe anymore. The world was too fun. There was too much fun to have. God, how do you let us go through these tragedies? I was questioning all that. Now watch this. Now God's going to have a hand on you no matter what, all your life. You guys, how many of you have goals? God-given goals. All of you are going to reach those goals at some point in time. But how fast do you want those goals? It's as fast as you continue to acknowledge and open your ear to God. Dion got on the police department, and within an 18-year body of work, 23, we now call him the mayor of Skid Row. He's doing things as a law enforcement officer that nobody has the courage to do. He's challenging systems, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. Me, I ran. I wanted the superficial things. I wanted to be I'll be a bodyguard for this superstar. That's good enough for me. I was good enough for you telling me that I was a great fighter. I had the potential to go to the UFC. That was good to me, you know. I loved it when I was at the peak of my fitness and ladies were like, ooh, Lord, CJ, you know. I like that, you know. Oh, you're cute, but I'm married. Yuck, 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 yuck. But I'm loving every bit of that, you know. I was there. And the last thing I had on my mind was, God, Eva's laughing. She's going to kill me later. That's another 3 days I'm not going to eat. She saw some stuff in the book she's still mad at me about. And we're going to talk about that too. But there was a time when I hit the low points. And I know you're going to ask about the low points, and I talk too much. But there was such a low point in my life to where God literally had me face down. He didn't embarrass me. I embarrassed myself. He didn't leave me. I left him. I used to hear him all the time, but all of a sudden, he went silent, and he let me walk in the pit. And I just had to look up and say, God, what's up?
That's a dangerous place to be.
Very dangerous.
I tell people all the time, as long as you hear his voice, when you're in wrong or whatever's going on, as long as you hear that voice, there's a chance for you to come back. When you stop hearing him, you're in dangerous waters. You're in very dangerous waters.
That's spiritual danger.
Yeah.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
And once you lose that, you are off to, people, you guys look at me, you think I'm just a specimen of happiness. I'm just going to admit it to you right now. There was a time where I wished someone would take me out. I didn't have the courage to do it myself. I wished someone would make me disappear. I want to show you how I pulled myself out of that.
Eva, Joseph,
Oh, my God.
and the girls.
I got to talk about my wife.
I'm trying to help you get out of this trouble you in. You better go
Well,
ahead so you can eat for the next 3 days.
During this telecast, I'm going to get in trouble. She's going to love me. I'm going to get in trouble. We'll see where we end up. What Eva Joseph always is to me was a bar. She was the bar. I was, my first day in college, you know what my goal was? What every young man's goal was. I didn't want one girlfriend. I wanted 10 girlfriends, you know. I wanted it all. I want sorority girls, you name it. I wanted it all. But the first day I met her, it pretty much was a wrap for my life, you know. I was a knucklehead, I'm not gonna lie. I've been there, done that, all that through our relationship, you know. But I knew it was her. I'll put it to you this way, and I'm not gonna tell you all of our love stories because there's one in the book that you're gonna need to hear. But I'll say this, if she got an A and I was making D's, I'd have to make at least a C+. That's how cold-blooded she was. Everybody take a look at her. Look at how she's sitting.
All eyes on you now.
Yeah. See, I told you. Eva sits like a lady. You know, when she wears a dress, she knows how to wear it. It's not. I don't have to tell. When I see her, it's class, and there's something about that will grow a man. I'm not the man that like Babyface. You know, I cook your clothes. I wasn't none of that. You know. But what I found, she made me stretch my intelligence. She made me stretch my goals. And one thing, she was not afraid to be honest. You ladies, don't bow down to your man with lies. Eva is completely honest with her raw emotions to a point where I was like, man, this is crazy. I'm gonna find me a mail order bride or something because this is enough right here. You know, she's a woman, and she's like, why are you laughing? Because it's true. Eva was the kind of, she's a solid woman that put up with nothing. If she felt disrespected, she'd let you know it, and her emotions would act upon it. And yeah, I would chuckle off mad. I'd be mad for a few days, but whenever I came back around, I came back better, because you know what? I just didn't want to lose you, you know? We broke up 3 times, 3 or 4. You did all the breaking up. Each time we broke up, it was because I wasn't living up to my expectations. And I promise you, it was her. The first one's because I think I teased her about her nose. I was telling her how much I love your nose, and because I never seen a nose like that. And that's it, it's a wrap. The second thing, I was doing the old, hey, I wanna go hang out with my boys, you know, peep that you just stay at home. It was a wrap. It was the day after Easter, you know. And then the other time, one day we were just embracing each other. It was out of friendship. We just had enough. And we hugged, we cried. And that disappearance was the one that let me know if she ever left my life, it would be over. So I will tell you this, because this isn't in the book, how I proposed to her. I was unemployed, okay? And I was wearing these green froggy pants with a silk shirt, and it had an iron stain on it because I couldn't afford another shirt. And I walked into the mall, and this is how much of a woman she is. I got the ring, I go to the mall, and I kneel in front of her. Now, this is perfect. All her friends are crying. It was the perfect moment. I was almost ready to sing to her. She goes, "Stop. Let's go inside the mall." What? All this fine is proposing to you?
You have on froggy pants, though.
I had frog. Maybe it was a froggy pants. I sat down in the middle of the mall, and she looked me dead in the eye. She didn't say nothing for a minute. She said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yes." I said yes. And that's the kind of woman that I'm dealing with. She has not changed to this day. The frustration makes me fall more intensely in love with her, you know. I love her parents. When I first met my father-in-law, he was holding a machete in his hand. Now, might not have been for me, but he was chopping something up. Her mother, I knew what I was in for. Every time I go for the rest, she'd talk me awake. But this is the kind of dignity that led me to be where I'm at. And she's right. When I was sick, she doesn't let me rest. When I'm depressed, she gives me the most straightforward answer. Sis, in the book, there was a point where I was at that place of despair. And she was Catholic at the time. She was the one that said, "Cleon, I know we haven't talked, but let's just go to church. And you'll find out the one word in the book that helped send the trajectory," Pastor Cheney, thank you, I love you, "of my life. It's one word, and you're going to have to read it."
You've mentioned twice about this space you were in. A lot of people go through trials and tribulations. They're able to snap back. They come to church, they hear the word, or turn on some gospel music. It's what snaps them back.
Right.
But there are times when you can get in places where we talked about you don't hear his voice, or you don't know what can pull you back. You don't know how to get there.
Right.
How did you get to that place, and then how did you pull yourself out of it?
It was a voice that barely knew me, didn't know anything about me, but her name was Cece. I won't go all the way into it, but she had been ill herself and received a vision of God about me. She saw me, she came running up to me, and at this time, before that, I literally said to myself, "God, just take me off this planet. I've had enough. I love my wife, but you know what? She can do better. You know, I got this young family, but they can do better. Please, God, take me off this planet because I don't have the courage to do it myself." I was right there, and you know it. At the pit of it, I'm walking around at work, and sure enough, this lady comes running at me, and she tells me a vision from God. Now, I hadn't heard nothing from God, not even a wind blow. And what she told me gave me the courage. She didn't say anything spectacular. I was just shocked that she knew how deep my life was. How do you tell somebody you don't know? And she was praying for herself, and I popped in. And I said, "You know what? That's God. That's God right there." So when you read the book, it gets a little funny as how my arrogance was when I didn't hear it at first. But when you read the book, you'll see how that trajectory changed my life. It opened the door. I saw the steps. Thank you, God.
Messengers.
Yes.
We're all vessels. God uses us. He asks, "Do you move?" If you don't, he moves to the next vessel. Until you're ready, he's going to come back to you again. He's going to knock on the door. Are you ready to do what he asked you to do? When you get these messengers, how were you able to recognize them? And what did you do with what they gave you?
Well, we all get in those zones where we're pushing hard. Our entrepreneur spirit is kicking in. We're having a great run at work. We got a promotion. And then all of a sudden, it just stops. It just shuts down. In fact, plateaus. It just gets worse, and it doesn't get any better, you know. And you're gonna have to cut this, cameraman. But what was your question again?
When these messengers come to you,
Got it.
When God, you're on that journey, and you do feel like, okay, I'm at this plateau. What do I do next?
Yeah.
You know, I have this purpose, but how do I fulfill it?
Got it. Here's the messengers. God will blow your mind, and here's how He'll blow your mind. Not like the people of old. They saw the burning bush. They were fed, you know, in their arrogance, God fed them with manna. You know, God just simply sent people my way as messengers to lead me out. And this is how He blew my mind. There's a chapter in the book where God gave me the vision from Cece. I was walking around encouraged, but nothing had moved for a few months. So as a bodyguard, I'm walking across the college campus to get to the Shrine Auditorium to do my bodyguard work. And He sent two women my way that didn't even speak English. And it was like, I don't know if you guys seen Poltergeist when somebody grabs you and starts speaking a whole different language and starts telling you a message from God to get out of the way of yourself. Now, how did God do that? I don't know, but that's God, isn't he? That's the magic of God. And then it's the simple things, like all of you. I can point to just about every one of you that I know in here, and you have a CJ story where you told me something where you thought I was imparting in you, but I was registering something else. So thank you, CJ. We're all in tears. CJ, you're the man. But allow me to say thank you for setting those roadblocks out of the valley. So it's people. That's the turning point. He kept constantly sending me people. I acknowledged him. I told him it was him. I acknowledged it's you. God, now I don't want to die. I don't want to die, but I know I won't die as long as you give me a mission. And he continued to send people my way, whether it was in business, whether it was in their own tragedy, whether it was just something to give, like out of nowhere. Why'd you do that? But it's just because God had a hand in it. That's how life turns. Because if I get into it, I done told you the book. You got to read the book.
Got to get the book. Got to get the book.
Gotta get the
Gotta
book.
get the book. A lot of times you hear people talk about purpose, their purpose in life. I am one of the school of thought that God is so big he can give you many purposes. There is not just one purpose for your life. Are you living your purpose?
I'm living one. At my age, and Nancy told me not to say my age, I'm living the purpose right now. There may be another platform or purpose tomorrow. I may be done with this tonight. I may be, hope not. I'm enjoying this ride right here. But there may be something tomorrow. I used to think, God, I'm a young man. This is young. I'm sorry, Pastor. When I was a young man, 12, 13, God, if I can just have sex, then you can kill me. I'm good. I'm young. It's okay, because God made sex, right? God, if I can just, get a job working UPS, I'm good. You can get that job. You get that job and you're miserable. God, I've been unemployed for about 3 or 4 months. I'm getting kind of tired of it. My unemployment check just kicked in. If you can just give me that job in a law enforcement officer, I'll be the greatest law enforcement officer that the world has ever seen. Oh, no, that's not working out. Oh, my God, I think I'm ready to quit this job. And then you start recognizing who he is and what he is, and these mentors that keep talking to you, you realize I had one mentor. He's in the book, another one that changed my life. He told me that you are the best self-defense instructor in the department. You are. But they're not, number one, they're not ready for you. And number two, this is not your platform. That's scary. I'm the best. I'm the best. No one can hurt me. I'm the undefeated one right here. But yet you're telling me there's a better platform? No. Well, sure enough, he pointed out those better platforms. I've never seen anybody public speak like you. I've never seen anybody just grab a mic cold and just floor a crowd with oratory skills. Yeah, you're better than that, and you'll find out. No, but I'm going to hold on today. I'm going to hold on to this thing that I'm best at. Nobody can kick my butt. I'll choke you out. I'll break your arm. And I'll smile and say, God bless you at the same time. That's how cold I was, But no, you want to hold on to that? You ever held on to something so tight it slips out your arm and falls away? You ever held on to a loved one a little too tight and they thought she was crazy and got away? You ever held on to a job and you were so possessive of it that people thought you were too crazy and you got moved? Well, guess what? You didn't get moved. If God wants to use you, he will be the one that moved you. And that's what he did. There was a point where I was mad. I was angry at God. But God, I was the best. No, son, I got something else for you. I got some people for you to meet. I want to sit here on this day, December 16th. I want you to talk about a book. But it's not over, y'all. There's another thing that I have to do. And when that's over, I never want to not be busy. Again, God, I don't want to die. So keep giving me those missions because I know if you give me the mission, you will protect me. And if I'm done tonight, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Sometimes in our own meager minds as humans, we feel like we have it all mapped out, or we need it mapped out. God tells us to move. We're like, but if we move, what about this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? When he asks you just to do one thing, move. Have faith and make this one thing, do this one thing I ask of you, and he will then lay out the rest. We try as humans to try to figure it all out ourselves.
Right.
We're not. Come on, we're trying to do God's work. Why? Do we not wait on the Lord enough? When should we say, okay, Lord, I waited long enough, or Lord, what am I doing or not doing? Faith without works.
Yes, faith without works is a real concept. Again, God is not magic. You can have a dream and say, hey, I named it, claimed it, I grabbed it, blabbed it, and God, it's on and cracking. I've accepted you. We're good. And you sit there for 2-3 years and wonder why God hasn't moved for you. I'm telling you, it wasn't meant for him to move for you. It was meant for him to put it in your head, and then you start taking the steps. Well, where do I step? I don't know. How about cracking open a book? You're good at public speaking. How about going to college, and getting speech and communications? Oh, you're in great shape, but, you're only going to make so much money side hustling at 3 o'clock in the morning at the gym working people out, and people know that, and you'll be cheap the rest of your life. How about going and getting that certification? That's God. That's you taking active steps. It's a false belief. It's a false God if God just revealed himself and says, I got this for you. Okay, I'm going to wait. If I'm lying, ask Joseph. Ask the Bible character Joseph. I think if God had revealed to Joseph the struggles that he was going to go through in order to get to where he was going, would Joseph had accepted the mission? Yes or no? Absolutely not. God put a bug in his ear, and Joseph blissfully bragged to his brothers the vision that God showed him. And what happened to him? Oh, he got his fanny whooped, all right? He got put into a pit, in prison, you name it. But guess what? He still had the faith because the vision was so strong. The vision was so active that it was like a drug. No, God didn't lie to me. No, he didn't. There were times I sat in the pit like, no, God didn't lie to me. I'm going to be the best trainer in Los Angeles. I'm going to be on this station. I'm going to write this book. God is not going to leave me. And sure enough, I remember that, son. You're ready. But he's not going to put you there. I tried to be secular about this book, but I can't. Something's working within me. God says, no, when you're ready, I will drive. I will drive. You see, I'm not like Dion. Dion will put it out there. I just love Jesus Christ. Jesus. Me is like, hey, dude, can I mention Jesus? Now, is that okay? I love God, but, I just want to make sure I don't offend anybody. Dion, I now stand unapologetically saying that it was God. It was Jesus Christ that said he opened the door and the steps were open. That's how it works. There's no magic. There's no magic. That's how it works.
Your definition of success.
Tell you what my definition of what success used to mean. Tons of money, 5-bedroom house, a swimming pool, a beautiful wife, I got that, beautiful kids, and if my wife acts up, opportunities on the other side, just in case. And a mansion somewhere. Does that sound like success? Does it? Oh, no, be honest. There's somebody out there, there's a pimp out there saying, yeah, CJ, that's what I'm talking about. I had to come to discover that success is not a material thing. I want you to think of all the athletes, the rock stars that are taking their lives, that are miserable right now, that can't even find a mission to stand on. One day they're here, one day they're there. And then next thing you know, they're showing their butt on Instagram. What's that? Is that success? Absolutely not. There are people killing themselves with money. What God has shown me, money is a real thing. It's a part of it. But what I show in the book, and I'm telling my young people out there, I'm walking you through business. This is a real business lecture 101. It's not the green that's going to keep you sustained. It's your influence. How well do you impart influence and love in people? How do I make you rich by a conversation we've had? Because at some point in time, it's going to come back around when you've fallen or you've fallen down. And these are the same people that will come back and say, I remember CJ. And I know if I turn homeless right now, there's somebody in this audience will unlock the key to bring me back in. That's where my riches, I see you, brother. That's where your riches come from. It's influence. Now, guess what? The money's there. I'm rich with family. I'm scared how beautiful my kids are. My daughter has her first boyfriend. Oh, my God. Clifford. But thank God, she's so God-fearing. She found a God-fearing boyfriend with God-fearing parents, and we all work together. That's Cosby Show stuff right there, but guess what? That's real. Is that not success? When I leave the gym and I come home to this beautiful lady, or that lady leaves home and comes home to help me in the gym, is that not success? Now listen, I don't have $1 million in the bank. In fact, this right here took a lot, okay? But I'm happy. I know God keeps me sustained at the levels that I'm needed to handle bigger valleys. So yes, I am becoming more successful. I am handling valleys well, bigger valleys well, because I'm becoming more successful. And that's business, y'all. God, money, family, faith, business. You put God in it, it's a whole different level of success. I'd be happy with $5. I'd be happy with $10,000.
He goes by Cliff. Let me just say that, Clifford.
Clifford.
He told me his name was Cliff.
Can I date your daughter?
So I'm going to give you some phrases, some words. And I want you to answer in 2 to 3 words, maybe a sentence. Okay?
Do you hear that? Good luck. Good luck. I promise.
This is the rule.
I promise.
Okay?
I promise.
Look, now I get to run something. I'm not 3 sets. Okay, we go. God's plan.
Help. Help everybody. You said 3. Mm-hmm. Help everybody now.
That's good. 2017.
Wow. It's almost done. Almost done. Explosion. Explosion of God's love through me. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me, Lord.
Fitness Syndicate.
God's joy and urging to our communities to take care of their bodies. If you can't, I'm sorry today, if you can't take care of your body, you can't run God's missions. Or you can, I'm sorry. How do you want to finish your mission? Do you want to finish like this? Because you can finish it. Oh, Lord Jesus, thank you, Jesus, for letting me finish the mission. Or do you want to finish like this? All right, that's what God's telling our community.
Quit.
Never, never again, never again.
After this one, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take some questions. I believe we have cards somewhere. We're going to bring those. We're going to do some cards.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to do some questions for those of future.
Take over the world with God? Nah. Rule this world with God's message.
Ladies and gentlemen, author Cleon Joseph. Thank you to those who've already written out your questions. And if we have an opportunity, we'll let you come to the mic as well, okay?
Oh, okay.
Thank
Another
you.
amazing story, Nancy Avalar.
Okay. We're going to go to this one. So no one put their names on some, no one put their names. Okay, so they must be, okay. In the process of writing the book, did you relive, experience grief like it was at that moment? Did you have to relive all of that all over again?
The answer to that question, who's in here ever thought about writing a book? Who thinks it's easy? I'm 10 years removed from it. It's going to be easy. It's going to be a breeze. And my wife can tell you, we were in Hawaii when I was getting through the book, and there were parts where I had to stop for a complete day and go outside for a run because I re-engaged with those feelings of wanting God to take my life. I re-engaged with those right there. I re-engaged with anger, people who I was angry with. And what you have to do is you have to keep typing, because if you don't, you'll never see how God brought you out of that. So there was a place where I was angry, happy, sad. it got to a point where I had to just sit in the bathroom for a little bit and just cry. But in order to stop those tears, I had to keep typing to find out where God brought me. It's very true. It's a dangerous thing, y'all. You have to finish what you start.
Someone in the audience wants you to describe the message from God to a non-believer.
You know, it's hard to do, but I truly believe this. It's amazing being human, isn't it? There's no way we can run around this planet with the brains that we have, the chairs that we create, the microphones, the technology. How do we not see that that's God? Now, no other animal on the planet can do what we can do. There are more stronger animals, there are faster animals, but they all bow to us because of what we can do. Do you know there are some people that can walk in the jungle and lions run? Because it's not because that one person, it's what that one person is capable of. If you don't believe that God had something to do with that, I really don't know what to tell you. But I will say this. There are people that find encouragement with self-help books. I mentioned some of those books in my book, so I don't scare you off. But I guarantee you, I showed you my walk. I didn't stand up and preach a message of name it, claim it, blab it, grab it. I was there, and I showed you the moment where I turned to God and how. I turned to God as a person that stopped believing. So you will meet me there, and if not, you will see the works that helped me get there. There are other mentors and other books, but trust and believe. I tricked you. You get in the middle of that book, and you find yourself in that valley that I was in, you'll know that there's something else out there.
One of the questions, there are many, and we won't be able to get to all of them.
I know.
One of the titles in your book is called You Cannot Help Everyone. Use your brain, not your heart. How much of a challenge has this been separating the two?
I got to be careful with this one because I don't want Eva to not feed me. So all right, I'll start with something easy. How many people you know that you talk to that you're constantly giving advice, and you were giving them advice 5 years ago, and you're giving them the same advice 5 years later, and by the time you're done with them, you need a drink. They drinking because they alcoholic, and you need a drink. That's one. And there comes a point in time where you don't have to stop loving them, but in order for you to grow, you have to let that person go. Or if you don't want to let them go, when they start talking that madness, change the subject. How many entrepreneurs are out there in the audience? Entrepreneurs. Pastors. I see an entrepreneur right there. Don't be shaking your head. I know what you do. Here's the deal. When you hire employees, you need to set a standard. Don't be a bleeding heart because it opens you up to trouble. If it is the opposite sex and you start paying them or just they feel extra about helping you, that's dangerous. You have to set your limits in the beginning. There's a chapter where Eva had to come in and set her rightful place in the throne, literally. So you have to be careful with that. The other thing is, there is a character in the book that had no experience that wanted to hang around me and just be around me, but didn't want to walk my walk. Wanted to do all the talking, but didn't want to walk my walk. That's dangerous. You need to leave that person alone. I mean, don't not be their friends, but you need to tell them straight up, you ain't me. You ain't never going to be ready. You ain't even ready to be me. Go back and educate yourself. Quit hustling. So going back to the young lady before, I have three things I have to say. You got to read into the book because I'll give away too much. Keep your brains in your head, keep your heart in your chest, and keep your pee-pee in your pants. And that's it.
That's great advice.
We all are fallible. We're all fallible, so watch out for it.
In the climate that we are in at this day and age, we should have had this book some years ago.
My book is right on time, Amazon.com.
Okay. What is a valley, and how can you tell the difference between a valley and a simple turbulence in life?
Well, turbulences are our valleys. Valleys, I tend to look at them in a positive way now, not like I looked at them and describing it to you within the book. In early days, valleys was a place of depression. Valleys was a place where nothing can go right. It was dark. In fact, there are people that are addicted to tragedy. Anybody know anybody like that? It's like cocaine, sugar, or bad foods, right? Some of you guys. It's addictive. Oh, woe is me. You do that long enough, that feels like the norm, and that just feels good. Well, that's not right at all. You got to learn to turn that around and think positive, and that's just the bottom line on that. That's a toxic person. That's a toxic human being, and you got to get yourself out of it. That's that kind of valley. The valley that turned for me was looking at valleys as, oh my God, look at this valley right here. When I'm done conquering this, I will be more successful. Okay, this door shut right here, but I see a crack over there. That's good. I got beat up today, but I remember how that guy beat me up. So I can figure him out, and I'll figure it out later. Okay, there's a part where I got denied a job. There was no way that I shouldn't have got it. In fact, you'll read the book. It was promised to my wife while she was pregnant that I would get this job. I didn't get the job, y'all. And there was a place in me in that valley when things started to turn around that said, I actually walked out the door of that interview saying, if y'all don't want this, the world's going to get it. As soon as I said, see how I looked at things differently now? Toxic valley, there's nowhere to go. It's dark. Demons all around me. God just take me out to a place where, I'm in the valley. Well, what is next for you? I'm ready. I'm the Thor of the valleys. When I see a valley coming, here's what I say. I know what it's going to look like when I come out the back end of that. I can handle, give me a bigger valley, because when I come out the valleys, it's going to be bigger success. That's it.
Round of applause. You talked about how at one point your family lost it all. In your child's mind, you felt like everything around you was gone. In your book, page 5 and 6, they say, they're quoting from it, I knew things were truly at its worst when I saw my mom in a sewing machine sewing schoolgirl dresses. She caught me staring. The question is, if you could go back to that moment as the man you are now today, what would you tell Lady Margie?
Margie Louise Booker Joseph, thank you. And here's what I mean. Yeah, you can give that a snap. Margie, she was cool, right?
That's Mama.
That's Mama. Mm-hmm. How do I say this? I had everything. I wasn't used to having nothing. So when we had minimal, we were surviving. But to me, in my mind, it was the apocalypse. When our business shut down, Margie's Kitchen, for those that remember it, when our business shut down, we were at the worst. My dad had fallen into pain. He was injured. He darn near was drinking every night. He was going there. My mom did what I never saw my mom do in the 50s and 60s. I'm throwing that time frame out because those are the time people got on that grind. My mom was on a high horse. She was a princess. But when things were about to fall apart, she knew how to get back on that grind. So when I saw her sewing, I felt sorry for her. Mom, what's next for me? I think Dion was going to sell flowers on Crenshaw. I was ready to sell a Laker t-shirt somewhere, and Mom was sewing. I'll give this one to you. And she saw me staring at her. Now, the restaurant had closed. Chains were on the door, and she was sitting there with school clothes that she had made for children. She looked at me and said, boy, what are you looking at? We may be poor, but we ain't broke. We have got to keep going. That right there let me know that there was an era that my generation had missed. There was an era of arrogance that we had, that everything's okay, technology now, app, whatever. My mom went back to doing what she knew and was proud. She sat up straight when she did that. Thank you, Margie Joseph. That's the answer. We need to teach. We need to reach back. Some of you that I know, myself too. We need to stop being so scared and tell these people about the grind that's going to get you to success.
Big round of applause, Cleon Joseph.
I saw somebody with
I want you to pick a chapter, a passage, and I want you to read a word from the author. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a big round of applause as he figures that out. In the meantime, I thought were there someone in the audience that had a question? Did anyone have a question while he figures that out? Yes, so if you'll come over to the microphone there. I don't know if it's on. Yeah, if you just step across there. There you go.
Mic check. Yes. So my question is, I understand it took 2 weeks, but in that, did you ever experience serious writer's block in that 2 weeks, or did the book just kind of write itself?
That's a good question. The writer's block came when I tried to fight and put my will into the book. But God, I want to show these abs. I want to show people how to get a six-pack. No, that's where the writer's block came in. I could not put any fitness details in the book because God wouldn't let me. So there comes a point in time where you have to give up and kind of let the ghost go and let God take over. And that's when the writer's block disappeared. I said, okay, God, okay, what do you want me to write? Okay, entrepreneurship, success, valleys, tragedy, share it with people. Man, this is getting pretty easy. I got addicted. My wife got tired of me typing. She almost left me again. But I found the verse today. I don't want to get any more trouble.
Okay, now let's share it with everyone who does have a book with them. Where are you reading from?
Now, I am on page 236, and I want to prove to you, because I don't want to read from the book per se, I'll tell you. I want to read from the utmost author. I want to read from them. Go to page 236. I'm going to give you the answer if you ever had doubt of what God has in store for you. I'm going to do like Pastor Cheney, and when everybody gets there, say something. Pastor would have a joke after that, but I'm not as funny as he is. All right, you got it? Okay, Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Here's how you know God is real, and here's how you know God has purpose, okay? And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Everybody get that? Yeah. That's just one. If you got another question, ask it, because I got to find the other one. This one's important.
Any other questions before you can get the book? Amazon, right? As you said, it's on Amazon?
Yes, it is on. You can get it on Amazon.com. See, now, CJ doesn't do anything half-baked. So I invested in this because I don't care what I do in the pocketbook. I really don't. And someone already told me that you don't make money off books, so I just kept writing. So you can go to Amazon for you tablet readers. You can go to a Kindle for you Nook readers. You can order the book on Amazon. You can tell your friends to order it, or you can go to my site, and all those buttons are there. But I found the chapter a day. This is the one. I am reading page 232. Now, this is if this isn't God, I don't know what is. You get there, say something. All right. Ezekiel 36, 27, 28. Okay. And I will put my spirit within you. Thank you, Dad. And cause you to walk in my statutes. And ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God.
Ladies and gentlemen, author Cleon Joseph, navigating through the valleys of success. A big round of applause for him, please.
Thank you.
We'll be signing more books here at the end now, in the back there. He'll be signing your books. If you haven't had a chance to purchase those, please get those. You can get them on his website with any of the online readers that they have, and of course, Amazon.com. Great. If you are going through a struggle or you know someone that is, this is the holiday season where we are all merry, but there are some of us that this is the most difficult time of year, where it'd be great to have a book to encourage them and give them a way to navigate through their trial and tribulation this holiday season. Think of everyone. Thank you.
NavigatingSuccess.net. Thank you. I'll be in the back to sign. Thank you. God bless you. Just spread the word. This is a real work. Spread the word. God bless you.